Hello everyone, it's Miss Shatterrain here. Today we're diving into my personal favorite top 10 Zelda games of all time. This one has been really difficult for me to rank. I've played every single game on this list at least once, and honestly, they've all stuck with me in very different ways. So whether you're an old school Zelda fan like myself, or maybe you just jumped into Hyrule with Breath of the Wild, let's get into it. Alright, kicking things off with number 10, the Minish Cap. I think this game is such a hidden gem. The whole idea of shrinking down to explore a teeny tiny part of the world is super creative, and Eslo, your talking hat buddy, has some of the best sass in the series. It's lighthearted, clever, and straight up fun. I finally got to play it when Nintendo Switch Online added the Game Boy Advance game catalog, and I was pleasantly surprised how good the game holds up. I definitely would recommend it, especially if you're looking for a handheld Zelda game to play. Number 9, Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity. So I know this one's a bit different than other Zelda games. Age of Calamity definitely isn't your traditional Zelda game, but I absolutely loved seeing the pre-Breath of the Wild world fully alive. I loved Breath of the Wild, and it was so interesting to go back and see the lore before the game takes place. And all the different champions you can play, they're amazing. The action, well, it's total chaos in the best way. It did scratch that lore itch while I was waiting for Tears of the Kingdom, and it was a blast to play. Like any Warriors game, it is a bit button mashy, but it's definitely worth your time if you want to try a Zelda game in a different genre. Number 8, Link's Awakening. I must admit, I never played Link's Awakening when it first came out on the Game Boy, but I played it on the Switch, and it's just weird in the most wonderful and glorious way. It's dreamy, it's quirky, and it actually hits way harder emotionally than you'd expect from what used to be just a Game Boy. The Switch remake was fantastic. The art style is adorable, and also really creative. This one stayed with me long after the credits rolled, and I must admit I do go back and play it from time to time. Number 7, Skyward Sword and Twilight Princess. Okay, I couldn't pick just one here, so I'm bending the rules a little bit. While a lot of players didn't like Skyward Sword, and I will admit the motion controls are pretty terrible, it does give us the origin story of Zelda, Link, and the Master Sword. If you manage to push through the motion controls, or if you've played it on the Switch, you can play it without motion controls, and it has some of the best dungeon designs in the whole series. Twilight Princess. It was a dark, moody, and totally badass game. Wolf Link and Midna were an inseparable pair that definitely carried the story of that game. I really liked how dark Twilight Princess was. It didn't compare to many other Zelda games, which are often lighthearted and fun. The only downside was it did struggle to run on the hardware at the time, but I still love playing it and revisiting it from time to time. So we have two totally different games at number 7, but they're both very memorable to me. Number 6, the OG Legend of Zelda. So this one is just about respect. I couldn't talk about my favorite Zelda games without acknowledging where it all started. The original Legend of Zelda game from NES didn't hold your hand at all. No map markers, no hints, no nothing. You had to explore and figure it out. That mystery and that sense of adventure is still magic to this day. Not to mention the game laid the groundwork for everything that came after. Plus it gave us some of the most iconic memes, like, "It's dangerous to go alone. Take this." Number 5, Majora's Mask. Okay, now this game is a trip, and again, the community is very divided on this game. Whether you love it or you hate it, Majora's Mask is a very dark and emotional game, and sometimes it's even really strange. It had a time loop mechanic, which was stressful and difficult to get used to, especially on the N64, but it was also really cool once you figured it out. The different masks gave you so many different playstyles. It was fun to be a Deku and a Zora and a Goron. It's one of those games that feels familiar while being completely different. And I like to think about the alternative universe in the Zelda world. The idea that Majora's Mask is one of the possible outcomes of Ocarina of Time makes this game all the more fascinating. Number 4, Wind Waker. I will always defend Wind Waker. People complained about it so much back in the day for it being cartoony with its brand new cel-shaded textures. But let's be real about this. The game's art style has actually aged phenomenally well. Probably better than the game after Wind Waker, Twilight Princess. You were sailing across a massive ocean, finding islands, and all kinds of different characters. The music was absolutely enchanting, and I really liked exploring Hyrule in its drowned state. It's a game of pure adventure and wonder. Number 3, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Okay, I'm bending the rules a little bit again, but these two games do go together, and I couldn't separate to decide which one was better. Breath of the Wild totally changed the way we now play Zelda games. It was the first open world Zelda game, and the freedom it provided you was amazing. You could climb mountains, you could cook food, you could blow yourself up with bombs by accident. Okay, well, maybe that one happened in older Zelda games too. But it was all part of the charm. I really liked exploring Hyrule in Breath of the Wild. The way you could ride Epona along the road and just sit back and watch as the music takes you away. I've spent so many hours on Breath of the Wild, and because the world is so massive, even to this day I might find a new piece of NPC dialogue or a new item that I'd never encountered before. And Tears in the Kingdom took that with its open world style and said, what if we let players build their own cars? I think people did some absolutely amazing things with Tears of the Kingdom, and a lot of people are really innovative and have built these amazing machines with the new mechanic in Tears of the Kingdom. I also really enjoyed exploring the gloom-filled depths. It was like exploring Breath of the Wild's Hyrule all over again, but this time with a higher sense of dread and despair. The possibilities from Tears of the Kingdom are wild, and even to this day you can find people building new things and finding new ways to play the game. I think it makes it really fun having such an open-ended Zelda. Number 2, Ocarina of Time. So, for anyone in my generation, this game is legendary for a reason. It was the first 3D Zelda. One of my first ever Zeldas I played. And my first time stepping into Hyrule Field as a kid after leaving the Lost Woods. Wow, I couldn't believe that a Zelda game could be so big and realistic. From the Forest Temple to the Spirit Temple, every dungeon and every song, it all fit perfectly. And the moment when you get to play as grown-up Link was so amazing. Getting to re-explore the same world you had explored as a child, as adult Link, made it so interesting. Not to mention, there was a lot of scary parts of Ocarina of Time. I remember being terrified of the well. Honorable mention, Echoes of Wisdom. Okay, so Echoes of Wisdom is the first ever Zelda game to be starring Zelda. I think it was a little bit underwhelming. We weren't sure what to expect of a game like this, but I must admit, while making this video, I had to go revisit my Echoes of Wisdom game, and I forgot how adorable the graphics are and how cool it is to finally play as Zelda. I would definitely say give it a try, especially if you like more of the puzzle element of a Zelda game. The game is largely focused on solving puzzles and using your echoes to defeat enemies. This is a contrast to most Zelda games where you can just swing your sword and chop through anything. Number 1, A Link to the Past. Finally, my number 1 favorite Zelda game, Link to the Past. This game is everything I love about Zelda, and it was the first ever Zelda game I finished on the Super Nintendo. It's got an epic story, amazing dungeons, a light world, and a dark world to explore. It took that classic top-down gameplay that we all fell in love with from the first Zelda, but with improved graphics. It may not sound like much nowadays, but going from 8-bit to 16-bit was crazy at the time. I've replayed that game so many times, way more than I can count. It's probably the Zelda that hooked me on the series, and it still holds up really well. I always enjoy revisiting that first Hyrule that I encountered as a child, and the music always takes me back to that feeling of being a kid and having a Super Nintendo controller in my hand. And there it is, my top 10 favorite Zelda games. Let me know what your favorite is. Everyone has their own ranking and their own preferences. Let me know what your favorite is. I know everyone has their own ranking of Zelda games, and I would love to hear yours. Don't forget to drop me a comment, give the video a like, and hit subscribe if you're into my cozy chaos and gaming nostalgia. Thanks for watching, and as always, may your heart stay full and your rupees never run dry. See you later!